Alright guys, I am here in my shop and I have all around me, there's a bunch of extrusion, there's a bunch of extrusion, back there is the box. I have all the parts here. They're banged up because they got banged up in shipping and I haven't got them replaced, and if you don't know what's going on with that, you'll have to go watch my other videos because I'm not getting into it here. But hopefully this thing works. I turned the box on and all the lights came on, so I'm not sure. We won't know until it's up and running if it's going to work or not. The bolts that held down the like actual Millright, their actual control system, their girdle control system, that the bolts that were holding that to the box broke off, which is pretty crazy to shear 4 bolts straight off. I thought, I'm like, damn, that thing really got banged up in shipping. Hopefully this thing is not too bad. I will find out once I start putting it together, but that's what we're about to do here, guys. So we'll start off with, I think, there's a cross member and then the left and right Y extrusion, I think, and I'm gonna start by buttoning those together with, well, I gotta go read the directions. We're gonna get to it. We'll see how long this video is. I may not do like every single part, but I noticed like anyone else who's really ever built a Millright on YouTube, it seems like they just, you know, throw a camera in the corner and do a time lapse, and I don't wanna do that. I actually wanna show you guys a little bit how to actually put this together, and it won't just be for a Millright, it'll probably be for like any kind of CNC router, be a lot of similar stuff going on. So obviously this is a Millright, but you know. So let's get right into it, guys. So there's a couple of different ways to assemble on this T-slotted stuff, but these T-nuts is a pretty common way to do it on anything pretty much other than the Avid CNC. The Avid CNC is probably a little easier to put together than one of these, but these are pretty easy. These just slide right in like that, and then slide right out, and then there's this tip in there to secure them with just a nut while you're assembling so that they don't slide around. So I put 2 on the ends here that are locked, and then he's got them here labeled. How many of those T-nuts go in there? Right here, there's 3. And so you can see I have 3 on there. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put this in between the 2 left and right parts. So these kind of joints, which are kind of odd joints, they go in first, and we're gonna tighten these down. Well, not super tight at the beginning, according to the directions. All right, I'm really confused on the directions here. They're not making a whole lot of sense to me, but essentially I'm putting on these things on. See, I have this middle member in here, and then I'm putting this one on right here, and this goes in the corner. And I can't tell if he's trying to use the T-nuts that are already in there, or you need to thread some T-nuts onto these and then slide them in. And I can't tell from the pictures either. And they're not upside down like they are. It says it should be upside down, but the picture is not upside down, so I'm confused. I think I'm gonna start by just threading the lock nuts onto here, and I'll put it together, and if I run out of nuts or I realize I'm not using some in some spots, I might have to take it back apart. But what it looks like to me right now, because they're in there, yeah, and then looking at, I was confused, but I figured it out. So let's look at something here. So these 5 right here, 2 of them are gonna go for one of these, and then another one here, and then these 2 here will go there. And then if you look here, I have the left on the right because I'm gonna flip it this way when we're done. And so there's going to be 2 here and 2 here. So 1, 2 there, and those are both for these corner brackets here and here. So that's what those are for. And I don't know what these 6 are for here. Those are probably for the linear rails, I imagine. But there should be 1, 2, 3, 4. So 1, 2, and so yeah, just the corner brackets on each side. So instead of putting 2 in here, I'm gonna actually thread them onto this thing first, and then I'm gonna slide them on here, and then attach them to these 2 threads over here. So yeah, I went ahead and got these threaded on there with the M6 washer on an M6 screw, because I guess this hole is too big for an M5 washer. Anyway, I'm gonna slide these onto these left and right Y extrusions, and then I'm gonna line them up with these other bolts, and I'm gonna get these bolted up, and these should, the nice thing about these is these should pull everything completely square. But I have 1, 2, 3 block I'm gonna check squareness with too, so. Well, that's the right size. Burr on this. I'm gonna have to file down. These guys are definitely a little bit of a cheap casting, you can tell. I mean, it's definitely a budget machine, which is nothing wrong with it, especially if it's true and it's accurate, and it's pretty heavy, which is good. But in their summer clothes. And now I gotta figure out, yeah, this goes this way. is gonna go in here like this. Look away. These aren't lock washers. All right, and I just realized these should have thread lock on them because they are not, there's no lock washer on these. So I'm gonna put a little thread lock. Monday, why you leave me straight? This thing felt empty. Turns out it was completely full. Oh, it's fucking threadlock red. I can't use threadlock red. Fuck! All right, I made the mistake of accidentally bringing red threadlock, which you can't use. If you're new to the game, red threadlock is like fucking super glue for threads. You really only want to use blue. There's a medium strength too. This is the high strength. Blue is the low strength, but you really don't need more than blue. I have some family. They're out running errands, so they're gonna be right next to an auto parts store, so I asked them to swing by and just grab me a tube. But while I was looking at that, I noticed there's like a little bit of play in this shitty plastic table, and I have some MDF over here in the corner. I'm gonna take that. I'm gonna put it over this table, and that MDF is very, very flat. You can actually use it as a bed on CNC routers. They use it all the time. And I thought that would give me just a little bit of a better thing to assemble this all on. So I'm gonna move everything off of here, and I'm gonna grab that, I'm gonna put it on here, I'm gonna move everything back on here to do the assembly on, because I think it'll give me, it's really fucking heavy though, it's the only problem. Well, I got some time. I'm gonna try to get it out here and see if that works. And that'll give me a really nice flat surface to assemble this on. Ugh, I should have filmed that. That shit was heavy as fuck. Forgot how heavy that shit is. It's fucking dense wood, man. This will give me a really flat surface to work on. It's huge and ridiculous, but it'll give me a flat surface to work on. All right, I'm still waiting on that thread lock, but I wanted to show you guys something that I may have already said, but I'm gonna say it again because it was confusing to me, and I think it may be confusing to you if you're building one of these and putting it together. These 5 parts, you see there's 5 right here? And if you look at this, that's the rear one. Yeah, rear cross member, yeah. So if you look at this goes this way, right? And the way you can tell, well actually no, it would go over here. So you'd be looking at it this way. And so you have that rear cross member there, and this 5 one goes here. And if we look at the other one, the front cross member, see there's also 5 right here. And if we look at this front cross member, the top is down. So it's going right there, and then this 5 right here, this is important because what's gonna happen is these are gonna get bolted on here, and there's 2 here, and these will disappear, and the same is true over here, there's 2 there as well. So these will all come in here and bolt onto this, and then those will all be gone. And then these 3 pieces right here, and then these 3 pieces right here, and then these 3 pieces right here all attach the bed to the top of this. And then, so this is the bed extrusion right here. So this bed is attached with some smaller, they look just like these, but they're really small. They're these medium corner, I'm pretty sure they're these ones. These medium corner brackets go here, and if they're not these, they're something similar to that. Anyway, those go there, and that's what holds the bed down, so that's really important. So you're assembling this thing upside down, and it's kind of confusing how these go together, and that should help you guys assemble this if you're doing this yourselves. I actually changed my mind. I'm going in here because I need a little pair of pliers, a special little pair of pliers for installing those guys. See guys, new toys. I love new toys. All right, let's go get back to that router. You know what's funny is the blue Loctite is in a red thing, and then the red Loctite is in a blue thing. Isn't that counterintuitive? Put this together. So these guys come over here. A couple of these M6 washers, using a squares to get that flat here on the end, using a 1, 2, 3 block to get flat. You point you guys a little bit more towards me. There we go. A dab of blue thread lock, more than a dab, Jesus. Go, kind of like pushing this all, trying to get everything really nice and solid here together. Put that on there. I'm gonna take this one out, and I'm gonna put thread lock on it and put it back in. And this, tighten these up, will pull this and make sure it should be a perfect 90-degree angle here, which is wise. That's what you want. Now I'm gonna do the same thing on this corner and then these other 2 corners. And then I gotta square up this middle crossbeam, and then we'll be kind of done with the base. All right, guys, I got this part of the bed done. I haven't moved it yet. I'm kind of scared to throw it. I've been spending all this time trying to get it really square and check the squareness. And the way I was doing this, these square up pretty well. I can't really put this in here to check. Actually, I guess I can a little bit. And then kind of what I do, Let me show you how I was filling the squareness on this. So essentially what I was doing is I was coming here and taking, this is a 1, 2, 3 block. If you don't know what that is, they use it for machining. It's got a lot of multifunctional tool, but it's got really square, perfectly 90-degree angles on it. And so I take that and put it in there, and I'm just wobbling it, and I don't feel any play. And I was doing that on both sides, like that. And then that was one way I was truing up this center piece. And if I had built this, I would have got more of these, and I would just put other ones there. That way I knew they would be square. This seems to work fine. And then I was just taking this and just measuring, and then going till it was, and in this case, it was 15 3/4, and then one other mark. It's my weird way of using a ruler, but it works for me. Anyway, that's how I was doing that. And just making sure that it lined up, and then I also did the same thing over here and just felt both sides and got it really nice and square. And then these I got just really nice and tight, and I also was taking the 1, 2, 3 block here and just filling it and trying to make sure it was really square over here on the ends as well. So now I need to read some more directions and figure out what I got to do next and get going after the next part. All right, so I got these laid out, and these are the bed. This is like where the magic happens. Everything's gonna get clamped down to this, except actually not, because it's gonna be on the other side. And the directions, I think, actually had this backwards, but it's a little typo. This part, you can see here how this part is very wide, where these two parts attach here, right? You can see how those are really wide. I think you want this up, because then this is gonna come in and go right here, and there's gonna be one here, and then another one over here. And this, I think, keeps these together very well, and this is also nice because this is a plastic, and rubbers work a little better for this, but anything that's kind of like this material, this absorbs low frequency noise pretty well, so those keep this thing from vibrating at low frequency, and then if you had harmonics issues, they would be pushed into the higher frequencies, the higher energies, which now this is a very high RPM spindle, so that could still be an issue, but this will probably help with that. Alright guys, I got this one on, and now I'm going to put this one on, and I'm going to show you how I did it. I'm inserting this now before I show you how to put on the bed, those acrylic plates, because I forgot to put in these nuts right here. There needs to be 3 of them, one on the left and right, and then one on the middle on the same row, in order to attach it to this middle plate right here. So now I'm going back and adding that back on. But I'm adding this now in case, for whatever reason, you're using this to actually build your thing instead of following the directions. I'm sure you're probably doing both. You don't make the same mistake I did. Okay, so the first thing he said about 140 millimeters here. So I was using my calipers to get that nice and precise. So I really do want that precise. And then I was using the 1, 2, 3 block again over here to make sure these edges were straight, but then they're just very slightly off from each other, and it's the bed too, so I don't think it's super precise. I was actually just eyeballing it, to be honest, but I really wanted these to be straight, so I was checking these with calipers and making sure they're good to go. And then I was using, so we slide these in here, these, and then the directions said, and I actually found it worked pretty well, to use a zip tie to push these up, and then this is more challenging because I'm bending way over here, but push them up right until they line up, like that. Then these needs to be slid over just slightly there. And I have a paper towel, that's unfortunate. Oops, all right, restart. All right, so put one, all right, so one right there. Take a lock washer, it's the split ones. Those add tension to keep the bolts from coming loose. Just like that. Grab it, stick it on there. Now just go ahead and putting them pretty much fully tight. I'll go back and really tighten them down at the end. But checking my measurement again, still looking good. So now, do this one, push it in. There's that. And we'll just keep going. So I'm installing these guys right here, and these guys are these corner brackets that fit in here, and so they got these little ridges right here on one side, and on the other side they're flat. So the flat side goes up against the cross members, and then the part with the ridge goes into the thing and locks them there, and that keeps it from twisting. And so those are going all through. They're gonna be here, here, and here, and then there's gonna be 3 there, and there's gonna be 3 there. So I'm sitting here trying to screw in one of these screws into the T-slot, T-nut, whatever you call them. I'm sitting there fucking with it, and I realize there's just no threading on that fucking thing. And it's deep in here, right in the fucking middle. So I have to go fucking redo everything I just fucking did. I'm gonna do that real quick. All right, as you can see here, we got all of these on. Oh, I lied, by the way. That didn't take like a crazy long time. I did just have to take off essentially this and this bracket and put together, and it went pretty well. Anyway, we got all of these just kind of finger tightened back on here, all 9 of those. The next step is taking these plates and these little tiny plates, but starting with either the rear ones or I think the rear ones it said, I can't remember, but these go on like this, and then these bigger holes right here, these get tapped with like a self-tapping bolt, and then these 2 holes are gonna line up with these 2 guys right here. And then this is essentially, well, those go on first, and then, so these go on, and what I was thinking was that this was actually somehow gonna attach down here and make sure that this bed is very flush with this, but that's actually not the case. I haven't read the directions 100% yet, but then, so after those go on, these guys go on here, and those definitely are smart because it'll hold these 2 together really nice and firm, and then hold them to the bed, so it'll keep them nice and flush. The only thing that's interesting to me is how do you make sure this is really nice and square to this, because one thing that matters when you're running a machine is you need your axes to align very accurately. So if you clamp something to any of these points, you want it to be aligned very accurately with the y-axis. So, I mean, I can just use a pair of calipers, and that'll work. It'd be nice, you know, it'd be nice if this right here had a couple extra holes that came out and like grabbed onto a couple of these holes right here, and then this all aligned, and that would be like, make it idiot proof, right? Because then you would align this to this, and you would know that these are aligned, because we know this is square, because we squared this. There might be a way in there that's more clever for squaring it, and I just haven't looked yet. I haven't read that far ahead, but you know, something like that would make a lot of sense to me. Anyway, I am definitely sick. I don't know if I said that at the beginning of this. I feel like shit right now. So I haven't actually got all that much done. I'm like, like about a quarter, maybe even a little less. Not quite a fifth. Done with the directions over there. You know, the end is just kind of plugging everything in and getting it going. And I always feel like when I first start a project, the first day always feels really non-productive. Always feels like it goes really slow and there's a lot of spinning wheels. And it's almost like skiing. Like the first day you go skiing, you kind of feel like you're just learning how to go to ski by the end of the day. The second day you go skiing, you're fucking killing it. So I'm hoping that's what's going on tomorrow. I slept so much, I slept in, and then I went and got breakfast with my mom. I just felt like shit. And Mom's like, let's go get some breakfast. I didn't even get started today till like 1 o'clock. So hopefully tomorrow we get some shit going on this and really get cranking on this. I essentially have the bed done. So that's what's, the title of this video is going to be about. And then over the next day or two, I'll really crank this thing out and get it completely going, and hopefully it works. Hopefully it works. You guys are great, and I love you. Stick around tomorrow, come back, watch the shit. It's going to be awesome. You guys are great.